Hi, everyone, and welcome to the spring 2021 semester. I'm Professor Silbutis, and I'm going to walk you through how to log on to Canvas and succeed in our course. Okay, so first you go to signon.stjohns.edu, and you see there's going to be a lot of features. Some of you have a few more features as students, and some of you don't, based on, I guess, your major, etc. So you're going to go to Canvas, click Canvas. Okay, in Canvas, before we look at anything else, we're going to go to Account, Notifications, and make sure that in Notifications, where it says Announcement, you click the bell so that it goes from being clear to being green. See how these other ones are clear? You want it to be green so that you get right away the notifications, just like you would if someone posted a new YouTube video for a group that you're following. Okay, so it's the same concept. So then going to courses, okay, in the dashboard, you'll see I'm teaching several courses. The courses that you have listed are going to be all of your courses that you're taking for the semester, but for me, it's all the courses I'm teaching. So you can see I'm teaching 3 sections of ethics class. What I'm going to ask each of you to do is, if you're emailing me, please don't just say I'm in your spring class, or I'm in your ethics class, or I'm in your core class. Please put the 5-digit number for your class in the email so that I know exactly what section to go to, because sometimes there's some problem with one of the sections and I have to go into the system and see where the problem is. All right, so it makes it much easier for me if I know what section you're in, so I know where the problem is. Okay, then I'm going to click on one because they're all set up very similarly. And what you're going to see is the home page here has a list of the top 4 or 5 announcements, and then prompts for assignment notification and discussions, which are generated through Canvas. Okay, so we're going to go to announcements because some of you are just joining the class this week during week 2. What I'm going to suggest is start, please, by going to announcements so that you catch up with the messages that the rest of the group received before the start of week 1. Okay, I want to make sure that no one has an unfair advantage. I want to make sure everybody is starting off with their semester on the right foot, okay, and on the right path. So from here, you're going to finish reading the announcements, then you're going to click syllabus and read about all the good stuff, which is always in the syllabus, right? Okay, so in the syllabus, you have an overview. The overview just tells you the purpose of why we have this philosophy class, what the goal is for the philosophy class, and what type of topics we're covering. Okay, I'm going to make a note here and then we'll talk about it again. Please refrain from political commentaries and from religious commentaries, because it's not the type of course where we focus on those topics. Okay, they're very inflammatory, they're very personal viewpoints, and so it has caused disruptions in other classes, not in my classes, because I have this policy. Okay, so we want to keep everyone happy and comfortable with the class as we proceed. We want to focus on the study of the systems created, the ethical systems created, and not on the topics that are more appropriately covered in government and politics or in theology class. All right? Okay. So we're going to go on to the online posting and meeting and grading schedule. So we do not have virtual meetings every week that everyone has to attend. There's an option on Wednesday mornings to come to office hours if you have a specific question and you need my help. There's also the option of scheduled reviews for the midterm, for the final, for a couple of other assignments as we move along. Okay, but assignments will always post to Canvas on Mondays at midnight. So midnight is 12 in the morning, right? Before most of you are awake. But I want to make sure that first thing Monday morning, you have it so that no matter what time you're awake, you have access to this and you have access to it for the week so that you can do your best to answer the questions every week before the deadline on Friday. So Friday work is always due at 12 p.m., which is noon on Friday. Eastern time, okay? So regardless of what time zone you're in, you're going to turn your work in at noon on standard Eastern time, okay? Then, special accommodations. If you fall into the category of a student athlete, an ROTC, or a person with a medical need or learning disability, please make sure you contact the appropriate office by the end of this week. So there are instructions here for the office that you must contact, okay? So for athletes and ROTC, you need to have your schedule printed, well, not printed, but sent to me, I guess, as a PDF from your department so that I know that this is your schedule. From there, you should arrange to have your assignments turned in the week before they're due if you're going to be out off-site, outside of New York, outside of Wi-Fi range, etc., for that period of time that something's due. Usually this applies to a major assignment like an essay, all right, so that way you don't fall behind with the class. For students with medical needs or learning disabilities, please contact the Office for Students with Disabilities, all right? It's very important that you go through them and not just send me paperwork because that's your private information. You should go through the Office for Students with Disabilities, and what they do is send me and each of your other instructors just very general instructions for the services that you need, okay? So it keeps things above board and manageable for you and for me, and it's, there's the notice in the dean's office so that everybody's on the same page, okay? Then, students who are studying abroad or out of state and taking the class online are expected to adhere to all the deadlines as well. So that's just a reminder of what I just said earlier. Okay, there are emergency contacts on campus. All right, here are the emergency contacts for if you have technical issues, if you're having health issues, if you're feeling anxious about your safety on or off campus, make sure that you know to contact public safety. All right. If you see that the technical issue is not being resolved, please send an email to IT because they have, actually, if you go here, okay, you're able to get IT support by filing a report here. Okay. So going back, the pre-existing health issues or urgent health issues, or you feel like you're having COVID, call health services. If health services is not open because they have limited hours, you can contact public safety to let them know that you're on campus and having a problem, and they'll help you call 911, okay, or get an ambulance out to you, all right? If you're able and alert to call 911, and please do so. All right. There are other resources that are available in modules that we'll cover in a moment. Textbooks and resources. So textbooks and resources, these are the required textbooks that are also available at the school bookstore in print form. So for those of you who prefer like a solid print form of the textbooks, these are available for you. The rest of the resources that are available in modules are articles or shorter texts, etc. However, if you don't want to purchase, that's fine. You just need to use the links that are here, okay? There's also, for those of you who are not familiar with MLA Grammar Guide or MLA citation format or bibliographic format, you have this Diana Hacker Rules for Writers, which is a free resource available not just online, but also at the St. John's Library. Okay, so we're going to come back to the importance of this in a moment. Okay, important ground rules for the course include the learning goals and outcomes, the communication skills. So there's an emphasis on writing skills in the class, obviously, because it's online. There isn't going to be a verbal repartee every week for the course. So again, it prompts you to go to getting started, which we'll do after we review the syllabus. Okay, then there are qualitative expectations, which means there's rubric, etc., for those of you who are completing this course. All right. One of the top rules and regulations is to avoid plagiarism. The plagiarism policy at school is very serious, okay, because it involves intellectual property. the use of intellectual property, the property of somebody else's mental conjurings, okay? So we're going to talk about intellectual property in much more detail in the class because it's part of our ethics class. It's an actual unit in the course. However, for the purposes here in the syllabus, it's very important for you to use these MLA citations. And so the importance of the guidebook that I provide above over here becomes important for everyone in the class, okay? So there are general rubric guidelines, okay, but then there are also specific rubric for each assignment, all right? So, and here is the value of each assignment explaining what's 20% and 15% and 30% and etc. Okay, so, and you can see the percentages at the very top here. Canvas kind of lines them up for you. All right. I know it says 105 at the bottom here because there's an extra credit option towards the end of the semester. For those of you who are comfortable doing that, it's optional, but students tend to do the extra credit because it helps them get closer to the grade that they want in case they didn't get full credit for another assignment. Okay. So going back. Okay, so the particular assignment rubric means you have to adhere to the general guidelines, but then you also have to do these specific guidelines for each assignment. And I have below the guidelines, the grades, okay, how the grades are lined up, what you earn, like how you earn different grades, okay? So for the weekly discussion board, here's the setup of what you're expected to do, okay? Similarly, for the short essays, which are called research essays, those are the 2 essays you're going to do before the midterm exam. And then the research reviews, which are the 2 essays that you're going to do before the final exam. Okay? Done. And again, I have all the detailed information and then how the grades are assigned. Oh, professor, but if I turn something in, do I still get a 0? Yes, because if you turn something in that does not meet the minimum requirements for the assignment, you're going to get a 0. Okay, it's not fair to the people who are doing the assignment properly to give a person who didn't follow any of the instructions full credit. Okay, so. And of course, people who plagiarize get a 0 automatically, which I don't like to do. Please don't make me. Turn in your work with the proper citations and the proper bibliography. The midterm essay, the midterm essay is worth 30%, okay, over here. And again, the same, you see the outline is provided with the instructions, and then you also have the grading prompts of like what consists of a 30, what does anyone ever get a 30 over 30? Yeah, of course they do, or else it wouldn't be posted here on the syllabus. All right. Then following the midterm, the focus of the second half of the semester is going to be on the preparation of different components of the final paper. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to start with is a topic proposal and annotated bibliography, which you're going to turn in week 9. I'm going to review it and then give it back to you for any kind of corrections, which you'll then give me back on week 10. Week 10 is going to be the final one because the following week you have to do a research review based on what you've come up with here in this assignment. Okay, so, and the research review, again, those instructions, you have to just go back up here. Okay, it's right there, the instructions. Then the final essay is the final 30% of the class. Okay, and the instructions for the final are here. However, the grading lineup that I have up here for the midterm, meaning this over here, applies for the final. So the same rubric that I have for the point by point system is the same as for the final. Okay, now, areas of knowledge for the course. Area of knowledge for the course are the general questions that we're going to be addressing in the class. Okay, now, what is interesting about these questions is that some of them are directly addressed in the readings for each week, and some of them are not. They're sort of like between the lines, or they're information that you have to acquire by piecing together the material from the weekly readings. Okay, so you build up your opinion over time. All right. So it's important not to be in a rush with this stuff. It's important to also keep in mind, for those of you who took Philosophy 1000, keep in mind the information from your Philosophy 1000 class. All right. Here. The bulk of the class is steeped in classical works of ancient times, particularly Aristotle, because Aristotle is the one who created the fundamental outline for ethics. Okay, so his textbook, Nicomachean Ethics, is going to be basically at the heart of the work that we're completing for this class. All right, everything else, you'll see it kind of like branches out from parts of that book, okay, and connects really well to one or more parts of that book. All right, so another principle of Aristotle is this concept of the 5 aspects of the human being. Okay, now you'll see the 5 aspects are spiritual, intellectual, psychological, physical, and social. This is important, and I'm stopping here a moment because it's important to see that we have to achieve fulfillment at these 5 levels in order to really flourish, which is the goal of an ethical code, of becoming part of being part of a community, of doing most of the things that we do. Okay, we want to be happy. What does that mean? Okay, we want to be good people. What does that mean? All right, so of course at the top is spiritual. However, in the understanding of spiritual, we are not going to be talking about organized religion. Okay, we're not going to make claims about the nature of God and these other questions that are more appropriate for a theology class, because I am not a theologian. Okay, so we're going to allow the theologians on campus to work on those with you. All right, but they're not going to be the topics for our papers or our discussions. All right, because it's not something that I particularly specialize in. Ethics, yes, ethical codes, business ethics, etc. Yes, that's going to be covered here. However, theology is better addressed in your theology classes. Okay, intellectual, so anything to do with epistemology and the process of how we know things, which are very closely tied to our psychological outlook on the world around us, how we take in information, how we process information, where we get stuck with processing information. Those two are very closely linked. And if something here is blocked because of some emotional trap we've put ourselves in, or some uncomfortable position we've put ourselves in, then it prevents really the acquisition of knowledge in order to evolve as spiritual beings, okay? As human beings, as spiritual beings, etc. Okay? Then the physical is kind of self-explanatory because it's our physical selves. If we don't maintain our physical selves, then how are we supposed to proceed with all the rest of it? Okay, it's no good being intellectual if we're falling apart physically. All right. Then, of course, the social, the concept of community is central to the definition of why we need codes of ethics. Okay, codes of harms, codes of ethics, all of this good stuff. All right. So an interesting thing about Aristotle is that he was basically originally writing his works to educate a prince, Alexander the Great. Okay, so similarly, we have Niccolo Machiavelli, who was also training, not a prince, the Medici in Italy. Okay, so a lot of you know the story of the Medici, and they're very interesting folks, but they're massive business people from the Renaissance era. They really propelled not just business people, but they propelled the arts and all kinds of humanities in their time, letting them spiral out very gradually from the core of Italy out into the rest of the world. So it's a very interesting time there. And Niccolo Machiavelli has been compared a few times to Aristotle. So I've put him as a recommended reading, but that doesn't mean that you have to read it right now, like drop everything and read, because you already have a lot to read for the class. But I do suggest that you read it before you leave college, because it's a great, great, great piece of literature. Okay, then we're going to come around. Here it tells you a little bit more like the unit readings, why we're reading different things. So I'll let you read that on your own. Okay, following this is the official class calendar. That sounds very formal, right? But basically it's to tell you, look, print this out and follow this, because this is basically your guide for the entire semester. Okay, when things are due, when the reviews are, when we have or don't have office hours, recess, etc. Following this is a little summary of the strategy for success in the course. Make sure you pay close attention. Make sure that you do the research and assignments and stay organized. Make sure you're planning ahead. Ask the instructor, that's me. Ask the instructor ahead of time and use the office hours or available campus resources whenever you can. Okay, I'm going to ask you, because of course you're going to email when you have questions, but I'm going to ask you all, if you email me, please make sure to email me by Wednesday night at the latest, because Thursday should be the day that you're catching up with whatever it is that you had the question about. So you're not leaving the assignment till like the wee hours of Thursday night and then late for the Friday due date. Okay. So try to get your questions into me by Wednesday. All right. So between Monday and Wednesday, just get the questions into me. I do respond to email, even though my schedule is really tight the rest of the week, because I do work at different campuses throughout the entire week. Okay. Then here, Canvas has supplied you with a sort of alternate automated list. Okay. So just make sure that you're follow the calendar here, because it's just short and sweet. But just in case, as backup, you have with the links that you can just click, oh, it's week 2, let me click week 2 and do the homework. Okay, but do me a favor and read the actual readings in modules. Don't just click and try to guess at the answer, because that does not help you. All right, so that's the syllabus. All right, we're going to proceed to modules. In modules, we have online office hours. So some of you have it looks kind of like this, closed like one stripe. You're going to open it and you'll see Zoom office hours by appointment. So you're going to click that. And this here is all the information for the Zoom link that you need for the entire semester, okay? So click here. I'm not going to click here now because obviously I'm recording this on Zoom. It's going to mess up the Zoom recording. But you click this, see how it has like the little Mickey Mouse glove looking thing? Click it, it's going to bring you straight to Zoom, okay? It shouldn't ask you for a meeting ID. It shouldn't ask you for a password if you're clicking just this directly, okay? But let's say you're going on your tablet or on your phone using the app, you put in this Zoom meeting ID and you put in this Zoom password, okay? So that way everyone's covered, whether they're coming by phone or tablet or whatnot, okay? Now, going back to modules, we have this extra credit badge, which we'll go to last because that refers to this prompt over here for badges. I'm going to close this for now, okay? Next, the university has supplied this very helpful combination of resources, campus resources, settings for Canvas, etc., so that you don't get lost on Canvas and so that you don't get lost on campus, because things are starting to open and we're resuming some aspects of campus life. However, you want to be safe in all aspects, okay? Medical, social, etc. See, that's Aristotle for you right there in 2021. Okay. Getting started. So getting started, you should have all read during week 1. However, again, if those of you who are starting this week due to the registration at drop period, okay, you should read all of this first. It has the glossary of all the main terms for the semester. It has the great to meet you, what is ethics, which is part of the week 2 assignment, right? There's a question called what is ethics, right? It wasn't a trick that I put it here. It was so basic that I put it for week 1, but it's a nice connection to week 2 so that you see that you're following information. Information will be comprehensive and following you for the semester. Okay, so tutorial, lay of the land and where to find things on Canvas. There is a little bit of overlap with the one that the campus provided. However, this one is specific to our course, so it's helpful to you. Okay. Tutorial number 2 is on the importance of clear quality writing and the use of valid sources in philosophy. So we touched upon this already by talking about intellectual property and by talking about plagiarism and those rules. Okay. But above that, it's very important to have very clear, concise writing style for philosophy papers because you want to get your point across in a certain way. All right. So in the beginning, for getting started, it talks about ethos, logos, pathos. Okay. The 3 principles of Aristotle for successful debate. Okay. I know it's a lot of Aristotle. Okay. And it's not because I'm Greek, it's because he's the guy who said something about everything. So I'm not going to apologize for it. He was a very good guy. Anyway, the point is, okay, it's just as important to have clear quality writing and use valid sources as points of reference as it is to have the citations to those sources and the bibliography to back up the information you're providing in the paper. Okay? Now, how to do the citations, how to do the bibliographies, how to do the topic proposals, how to do the research reviews, all those over here, okay, are in this tutorial number 3. Okay, and then every time you go, you're going to see the week 1, week 2 quizzes, etc. So we're going to close this now and come to the next unit, which is comprehensive course readings. Now, I am going to apologize a little bit because this is clunky because it's all the unit readings. But in Canvas, the way Canvas calculates and clusters the units for grading purposes, this system over here worked a little bit better in terms of the accuracy of the grading. So I'm going with this unit for this unit breakdown for the semester, okay? I do apologize for those of you who are asking. I got a few emails today about like, okay, where am I finding? So you're going to go, of course, to Intro to Ethics because the question is what is ethics and what is the good? Okay, so as I've been telling you, the classical foundations of Aristotelian philosophy. So that's, of course, why I'm saying it. It's not just, you know, it's kind of, I'm used to telling people about it. So you're going to click here. Okay, and you're going to see the outline. These clicky things over here are videos. Okay. You have a few audio links. Okay. It's a lot of text. I know it's a lot of text. I'm not expecting you to learn all by yourselves. I'm here. However, we're not doing videos every single week because it's not conducive to the setup for Canvas. It makes the course just too large. Okay, so going along, you have a few suggested things after the breakdown of the 5 aspects and Aristotle and all of this. Okay, you have information about the primary source for the course and the tertiary sources for the course that are approved for this class. Okay. The only book that I know you have to buy for certain is Anthony Flou's Dictionary of Philosophy because unfortunately it used to be in a PDF format and it's not available right now. Okay. There used to be a version on the St. John's Library. However, it's not available. Like the version that the bookstore carries is not available. However, on Amazon, it's available for $6 used. So if you want to purchase it through Amazon instead of the bookstore, save yourself, I think it's like $3 difference between the bookstore and Amazon. Go ahead and do that. I'm not making people purchase the rest of the books because I think it's available online in a reasonable format and we can work with that. Okay. Okay. All right. So following the things that say units here clearly, okay, is something that says supplementary reading. So a few weeks at a time are clustered together. So units 2, you're going to start like week 3, you're going to see all these things, okay? The cheat sheet to kinetics, they're very long units. So I broke them down so that you can read them and then go back and forth between the units, okay? Because it's all going to be comprehensive information leading up to the midterm and then again leading up to the final. Supplementary reading is stuff that, of course, you're not required to read for the course. However, they will help you develop different topics that are interesting for the final paper, for example, okay, or for an example that you want to put in your midterm essay. Week 2, you have again 2 questions. Week 3, you have 1 question, but you also have an essay due, the first research essay due. The most popular question in the entire class is, Professor, what am I supposed to write about? Okay, so the fun part about the class is also apparently the most challenging part of the class, which is to come up with your own research question. Okay, I want you to be the one coming up with the research question because the question should be valuable to you. Okay, and everyone's values in the course are different. Okay, everyone's taking ethics because it's required. However, ethics needs to exist for you. Okay, it's not that you're existing for ethics, it's ethics existing for you. So it's a different kind of a course in that respect, which means that you have to personalize the essay, but the essay still must be formal in tone. It still must have the required citations and research, etc. involved. Okay, as a fallback, since it's your first essay and since it's only in week 3, what I suggest is that you base the information on one of the units that you've read. Okay, Introduction to Ethics, what's ethics, what is the good, what is the concept of moral virtue, how does it apply to the 21st century? Okay, now, of course, in the tutorials, you're going to have something that's called a short essay that's called There's No I in Team. Okay, so in getting started, the tutorials, okay, over here, you're going to find there's no I in team, okay? Sorry, there's no I in essay. There's no I in team either, but there's no I in essay. Why? I prepared that short essay for you because I want to make sure that your formal writing format does not fall into like the same model as a People magazine kind of article. Okay, this is a formal college course. You should take on the tone of an educated young college student. Okay, so I want everyone to develop that voice. This is a very good space to develop that, especially since people taking the ethics class do want to develop a strong voice as well that they can then carry on to their other courses. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of writing, and so it should be quality writing. I want to see good stuff from you guys. All right, done. There's a marker here. Don't get scared. It's just a prompt. Okay, follow down to midterm exam down here. You see the midterm exam is already drafted, is already up here, but it's closed until week 7. Week 7, it's going to go like this. There's going to be a little green arrow, and you're going to be seeing it. But for now, alas, it's locked. All right, not to be mean, just it's a time thing. You're going to get it on week 7, and then it's due week 8. Okay, so this is not a clickable thing. Don't panic. It's not you. Just go down to the thing that says midterm exam. This, again, is not a clickable thing. You're just going to click over here, week 8 midterm exam. Okay. Similarly, with the working assignments for the final, this involves several pieces that are found here. Okay. So the final has its own unit, the overview of topics, outlines, research reviews, and finished products. Okay. It also has the prompt for the week 9 to 10 topic proposal and annotated bibliography. Then it has the research review for week 11, the research review for week 13, and then last but not least, the good stuff, the final essay. Okay, so it's all here. And then below here for week 12, there is an optional extra credit for those who are interested in doing it. Okay, it's available, it's open if you want to look at it. Okay, I didn't close it, but it does lock in April. Okay, it's worth 4 points. There's another question similarly for extra credit that will be available on the midterm exam. I will not post it for you right now. No spoilers. You will see it in week 7. Okay, so next we're going to go to people. People is a nice way for each of the students to connect with their classmates. All right, grades we're going to skip over because there are already grades entered into the system. And then badges refers to these symbols that you get, kind of like a sticker board that are system generated through Canvas for when you finish a unit or when you attend an office hour or when you visit the St. John's campus resources or the getting started. Once you finish all the comprehensive course readings, once you've completed the midterm exam and the final paper, and if you've completed the optional extra credit, also there's a badge for that. Okay, the badges don't affect your grades, so I don't want you to be nervous if one doesn't pop up on your system. It just might be the browser you're using. Okay, so don't panic if you don't see these blue thingies. The thing that you do have to concern yourself is to click grades and you'll see your grades lined up. Okay, so if you have any questions, please email me, but that's basically the conclusion of our virtual tour for the class. I look forward to seeing your work this semester and to reading about all the great perspectives that you've researched and presented. All right.